All right, Shalom. First and foremost, call halal yamala, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem HaRachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone that I learned this truth from. And also peace and salutation to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And the title of this video is going to be, He will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness. All right, and that's coming from the book of Romans right here. All right, the book of Romans, chapter 9, and I'm going to start at verse 27. It says, He says, all right, which is the prophet Isaiah, also crieth concerning Israel, though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall be saved. All right, and that's quoting directly from Isaiah the 10th chapter, around the 20th verse on down. Okay, which prophesies about the remnant of Israel, the elect, the 1/3, ultimately no longer staying upon him that has smote us. All right, Esau, Edom that has smote us. No longer leaning to Esau, Edom, and his lies and his pseudoscience and his image as the way to be on earth. Okay, no longer looking to march for rights and so-called liberties no more. No, the remnant of the nation of Israel would no longer stay upon Esau, Edom, and his heathen that have done nothing but smote us with the continual stroke. All right, but instead we'll what? Stay upon Yahweh Shemal Shai, lean upon Yahweh Shemal Shai in truth. Okay, this gospel, this testimony, these scriptures. We lean to Yahweh Shemal Shai for our solutions and our explanations for everything that's going on around the world. All right, and why we're in the conditions that we're in. Okay, and what we need to do as the hopeful elect to be delivered out of these conditions. All right, this captivity, this hell that we're in, right? This mortal flesh that we're in, that's subject to vanity and subject to sin. All right, we the hopeful elect will lean upon and rest upon Yahweh Shema Shai in truth. All right, says again, Romans chapter 9 and 27. Isaiah also crieth concerning Israel, though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall return. All right, and that's what's happening in these outer days. The remnant, all right, the hopeful elect, are returning to Yahweh Shema Shai in truth. Okay, calling on Yahweh Shema Shai to save us and deliver us out of this captivity. All right, by sending Yahweh Shai Mashiach back. Verse 28. For he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness, because a short work will the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai make upon the earth. All right, and what's the short work that Yahweh Shema Shai is getting ready to make upon the earth? All right, his judgments, tribulation, the hour of temptation. All right, all hell breaking loose. Okay, the Lord is gonna make a short work. All right, of all these end time prophecies that's left to come to pass. All right, and that's why, as we see on the left hand side, Esau Edom is moving with warp speed. Okay, looking to fulfill his left hand work, which is what? The NWO agenda, technocracy. Okay, using AI to govern pretty much the whole entire earth. Set up a digital Tower of Babel. Based upon digital IDs and social credit scores, UBIs. All right, and it's all going to be centered around the implementation of the MOTB, the micro CIP. Okay, so Esau, all right, even Esau knows that the Lord is getting ready to make a short work, which is why Esau is getting ready to come down great wrath. Because what? He knoweth that he had but a short time left, right? Because that's why, even as the scripture says in book of Job, yep, this is the book of Job, chapter 14 and verse 5. It says, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. All right, and ultimately through the Spirit, this is speaking of Esau, Edom. All right, because we know, according to the scriptures, the days are the are the days of the children of Israel, is everlasting, eternal. Okay, and as a matter of fact, there's a let me see, it's in the book of Sirach, talks about the years of the children of Israel pretty much being forever. I think that's in Sirach 37. Let's see. Yep, this is Sirach chapter 37 and verse 25. It says, "The days of the life of man may be numbered." Okay, the days of the life of man may be numbered. What did we just read in Job 14 and 5? Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Right? And as it says again, Sirach 37 and 25, the days of the life of man may be numbered, but the days of Israel are innumerable. See that? So the days of the children of Israel, the nation of Israel, are innumerable. All right, starting with the elect. Okay, because we know, all right, the only nation that the Lord is going to bless with immortality is the nation of Israel, starting with the elect. Okay, starting first and foremost with Yahweh Shai. All right, only Israelites are going to receive the new bodies as spoken of throughout prophecy, the new covenant. Okay, and live, forever and ever and ever, and not taste death again. All right, not never go through any sorrow again. No more captivity, no more sin, no more sickness, disease, and no more strife. All right, no more separation from our power. All right, that's only given to Israel. Matter of fact, verse 26, Sirach 37 and 26, a wise man shall inherit glory among his people, and his name shall be perpetual. All right, and the name of Yahweh Shema Shai is perpetual, first and foremost, which is going to lead to the name of Israel, Yasha'Allah, being perpetual. Okay, when Jerusalem is made a praise in the earth, once again, as it speaks of in Isaiah 62, where it talks about the Lord setting up watchmen, which shall, never give them peace day nor night, until what? Until Jerusalem be a praise in the earth. Until Jerusalem, all right, Yerushalayim, in the name of Yasha'Allah, be a perpetual praise in the earth, in the kingdom, all right, under the name of Yahweh Ba'al Shai. Okay, Romans 9 and 28 again, it says, "For he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness, because a short work will the Lord Yahweh Ba'al Shai make upon the earth." Yeah, and again, the short work is speaking of what? The Lord's judgments. Okay, Jacob's trouble, great tribulation, the hour of temptation, Esau coming down, great wrath. All right, all these things we know is all coming down the pipe. And not to mention, mass economic collapse, famine, pestilence. All right, great sorrows, great death, civil war, civil unrest. All right, Esau coming down, great wrath, AI, all manner of persecution. Insurrection against them that fear the Lord, like it speaks of in 2nd Ezra 16. Okay, the scourges as amendment. All right, World War III. All these things are coming down the pipe in the near future. All right, within the upcoming weeks, months. All right, but it'll as great tribulation and all hell is getting ready to break loose. Yahweh Shema Shah is gonna cut it short. All right, for his elect's sake. Because real quick, what did Yahweh Shai tell us in Matthew 24? All right, as Yahweh Shai was breaking down in Matthew 24, the different signs, that will lead to his return. There's various earthquakes in diverse places, which we clearly see right now on the earth, pestilences, famines. All right, nation rising up against nation, kingdom against kingdom, wars and rumors of war. All right, we see all these things clearly happening in the earth in these latter days, showing us the hopeful elect, the clear signs that the return of Yahushua is nigh. All right, and also as Yahushua said in Matthew 24 and verse 21, he says, "For then shall be great tribulation." All right, what's the great tribulation? Jacob's trouble, all hell breaking loose. All right, it says, Matthew 24 and 21, Yahushua is speaking. He says, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be." All right, and all the great tribulation and all the hell that's getting ready to break loose is going to be like a time like never before. So much to where the Lord is going to have to send the angels and the archangel Michael to help protect, all right, the elect during these times. As a matter of fact, I believe even when you cross-reference this, let's see. Yep, Daniel 12 and 1. It says, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble," all right, great tribulation, as Yahushua spoke of, "such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time." All right, meaning, hey, the things are getting ready to get wild in these outer days. Things are getting ready to get, all manner of spooky, all manner of, left hand. Okay, Esau's getting ready to come with left hand miracles and signs and wonders and counterfeit power, AI, all right, robot dogs and robot police. Okay, these are times that the world has never seen. All right, but at this same time, okay, during these same days, during this same time of trouble and tribulation, it says, "And at that time, thy people," all right, the Lord's elect, all right, the 1/3, the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, Lord will not be able to number. It says, "And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book." All right, and only the elect's names are found written in the book of life. Okay, predestined and preordained to receive salvation in these latter days through these times coming down the pipe. All right, and that links up with what we just read, as Yahushua said again in Matthew 24 and 21, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be." Okay, because the times coming down the pipe is the first and last times that the world is getting ready to see. Okay, so much tribulation is coming down the pipe. Esau coming down great wrath, robot dogs and robot police, AI, technocracy, okay, full-blown dystopian society, the MOTB. Okay, this is the first and last time this earth is going to experience such a time like what's coming down the pipe. All right, but it says, he says, Matthew 24 and 22, Yahushua speaking, "And except those days should be shortened," all right, except the Most High Yahweh, shorten up these days, right, make a short work in righteousness. He says, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. You see that? So the Most High Yahweh didn't make a short work in these days in righteousness. Okay, no flesh should be saved. All right, especially no flesh of the elect. Okay, because if the Lord didn't shorten up these days, Esau would get the victory. Esau will somehow, some way get wipe out the children of Israel and get the birthright back. Okay, he would establish his NWO agenda into fruition. All right, in upset prophecy. You see that? So for the elect's sake, the Lord is finishing his work, right? Because even as we just read in right here in Romans 9 and 27 on down, it speaks about, the remnant, the elect, okay, returning to the Lord to ultimately be saved, right? And as it goes into again in verse 28, Romans 9 and 28, for he will finish the work and cut it short. All right. So as the elect are waking up, all right, as the remnant are waking up more and more, okay, and Esau is moving closer and closer to coming down great wrath against the whole world and especially against the elect. And the Lord is going to, finish up his work of perfecting his elect, perfecting them through faith, all right, and cutting the days short in righteousness, all right, speeding up prophecy, okay, speeding up the downfall of Esau, Edom, and as well as speeding up the deliverance and the salvation and the victory of the elect. Okay, Lord will not be of the number. It says, for he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness, because a short work will the Lord Yahweh Shemashai make upon earth. Yeah. So the Lord is going to make short work of the judgments and the different scourges as amendment that he's getting ready to bring upon earth. And especially more importantly, the Lord is going to make short work of the destruction of Babylon the Great America. Okay, because what does it say in Revelation 18? All right, how long is it going to take the Lord to destroy Babylon the Great America? All right, Revelation 18. Let's see. Yep, Revelation 18 and verse 9, it says, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her. All right, all these different nations and these countries throughout the world that have, traded and made deals with America, took on that dollar, right? It says, when Babylon is destroyed, right? What are these nations and these heathen are going to do? It says they shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. See that? So certain, these particular nations throughout the earth, all right, these different countries and these different heathens, okay, that are going to remain, trading and dealing with America and dealing with the dollar. Okay, when this place is destroyed by way of fire, thermonuclear fire, hypersonic nuclear fire, along with the fire from the chariots of Yahweh and the holy angels, these nations are going to bewail America and lament for her. Okay, when they see the smoke of America's burning, going up to the heavens. Okay, like a scroll, like a mushroom cloud, like it speaks of in Isaiah the 34th chapter. Okay, where it talks about the destruction that the Lord is going to bring upon Idumea, Esau, Edom. All right, it's going to be like a scroll. Okay, the heavens shall be rolled together like a scroll. Basically meaning what? When those nuclear missiles are going to be crash landing upon America and detonating, right, and blowing this place to smithereens and turn this place to a lake of fire, is going to create a giant smoke of mushroom cloud in the air. All right, for these nations to far off to see it, okay, and realize that hey, this place is done with. Yahweh Shemashah has judged this place, and as it speaks of in verse 10, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. See that? So it's only going to take the Heavenly Father Yahweh Baal Shemel Shai 1 hour to bring judgment by way of fire upon Babylon the Great America. Okay, and of course, what type of weaponry could the Lord, use to turn this whole entire country, okay, to a lake of fire in just in a matter of 1 hour? Okay, thermonuclear missiles, hypersonic missiles, along with the fire from the chariots of Yahweh and the holy angels. Okay, that's the type of weaponry and armory that the Lord is going to use to destroy Babylon the Great in just 1 hour. You see that? But overall, as we clearly see right here in prophecy, the fact that it's only going to take the Lord 1 hour to destroy this whole entire country, America, Babylon the Great, further shows what? That the Lord is going to make a short work of this place in righteousness. Romans 9 and 28 again. For he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness, because a short work will the Lord Yahweh Shai make upon the earth. Okay, a short work will the Lord make upon the earth, especially here in Babylon the Great. Okay, the fourth part of the earth, as it speaks of in the book of Revelation. Okay, the Lord's getting ready to make a short work, a short destruction upon this place. All right, all for his remnant's sake, for his remnant to be saved. You see that? Matter of fact, verse 29, Romans 9 and 29, as Isaiah said before, except the Lord of Sabaoth. Okay, what does the Lord of Sabaoth mean? The Lord of heaven's armies. Okay, when you look it up in the Greek. All right, because hey, the Most High Yahweh is getting ready to send Yahweh Shai back with the armies from heavens. Okay, the holy angels on the right hand side, the archangel Michael being his second in command. Right? It says, and as Isaiah said before, except the Lord of Sabaoth hath left us a seed, all right, a remnant, we had been as Sodom and been made like unto Gomorrah. Yeah, so if the Lord that ultimately didn't leave a remnant, okay, and elect, amongst our people, all right, then ultimately our whole entire nation, the nation of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, we would all be as Sodom and Gomorrah, okay, completely left, right, a no people, and ultimately, be destroyed right along with this modern day Sodom and Gomorrah, America, okay. The Lord didn't leave, a remnant and elect behind amongst our people, okay, then ultimately all the nation of Israel, all right, especially, here in America per se, Babylon the Great, we would all be destroyed right along with America in 1 hour. You see that? But call Halayim La what the water Yahweh Shai for raising up an elect, a remnant. Okay, Lord will not be of that number. You see that? But nonetheless, okay, the Lord is we're in a time in these latter days at 2026 going forward, where the Lord Yahweh Shai, he's finishing his work. Okay, there's only just a few more major prophecies left. Okay, we the hopeful elect believe at this point that that pretty much all of the elect are sealed pursuant to Revelation 7. And if all of the elect are not sealed at this point, then hey, we believe the mass majority of the elect pursuant to Revelation the 7th chapter are pretty much sealed. Okay, because that's the only thing that's stopping the Lord from releasing those four angels throughout the four winds of the earth to bring forth the destruction that's written up. Okay, the elect being sealed. You see that? But as we see now, the Lord is finishing up his work in sealing his elect, okay, and putting all the pieces of prophecy together, raising up Esau's pride, putting the spirit on Esau, Edom to ramp up with his pseudoscience and his technology, okay, to attempt to establish his NWO agenda and come with that MOTB, the charagma. And the Lord's going to cut it all short, all right, in righteousness for his elect's sake. Because as it says again, because a short work will the Lord Yahweh Shai make upon the earth. And the Lord's going to make short work of the judgment upon Babylon and Great America. The Lord's going to make a short work of destroying his beast system, America, NATO, and EU, and his image and a mark. Okay, and taking down the armies of the heathen nations in the valley of Yehoshaphat. And as well, the Lord's also going to make a short work of delivering and bringing salvation to his elect. Okay, that's here in America, Babylon the Great, as well as throughout the four corners of the earth. You see that? And the Lord is also going to make a short work of Jacob's trouble, great tribulation, as we read in Matthew 24, all right, verses 21 and 22. Okay, the Lord's making a short work all for his elect's sake. Okay, at least what? No flesh should be saved. All right. Let me get this. Let's get a second Esdras. Second Esdras 2 in verse 13, it says, Go and ye shall receive All right. Pray for a few days unto you, that they may be shortened. The kingdom is already prepared for you. Watch. See that? So Yahweh Shema Shah is already preparing the kingdom. He's already raising the tabernacle of David. Okay, he's already bringing down Esau, Edom, and Babylon the Great and the rest of these heathen nations. Okay, say, you sincere elect out there, fellow Akim that's laboring, okay, as well as Akwakim that's watching and listening and believing. Okay, continue to pray. Continue to watch, pray, fast. Okay, do whatever you got to do to get yourself right with Yahweh Shema Shai. Develop, what manner of person you ought to be in these times that we're in. Okay, because hey, things are only going to continue to get worse and worse and worse before they get better when Yahweh Shai returns. See that? But the beauty of it is that hey, the Lord already ordained, preordained, predestined. Okay, who's going to be delivered, who's going to receive salvation. Okay, and as well as we've been going into in this lesson, the Lord is going to shorten up these days of tribulation. Okay, shorten up the hour of temptation, shorten up Esau's wrath, and ultimately shorten up Esau's rulership. Okay, for his elect's sake, you know, to establish ultimately the kingdom of heaven, Yahweh Shai on the throne of David. Okay, so with that, Lord willing, this video is edifying, and until next time, Shalom.